Man, I know this rain, I know it's kind of gloomy and kind of makes you feel down, and like, who wants to like crawl into their couch with some hot chocolate and Netflix, right? Yeah, no, but we're not doing that. But we're not doing that. We're not doing that this morning. We're not. We're worshiping God. We're excited about what God is doing. We've got baptisms after services that are going to happen. It's going to be so good. But before we even jump into that, before we even get right into that, man, we've got, like, God's got some really good stuff that He's got planned for us today as we wrap up this series called Heart and Soul. Heart and Soul. And so we've been talking about the values of Luminous City Church, the values of God. We believe that God's got some really intrinsic, hardcore, heart and soul values inside of Him and His character that He's communicated to His people, to His church, to His creation about who He is. And so we've just kind of been unpacking those very important core values of God, we believe, and of Luminous City Church. And today I'm kind of disappointed. We're covering, this is the last one, right? You're supposed to go, I know, but I'm excited because we do get to start a new series, as you saw up there. This new series starting in June called Worth It. We're totally pumped about that. And Worth It, what I want to say about Worth It is it's a great time for you to invite a friend, a family member, a coworker, somebody you go to school with, whatever. It's a great time. And here's what you got to tell them. Here's what you need to tell them. You need to say, hey, like, let me ask you this. Who's ever been stressed out about money? Raise your hand. About money, finances? Okay, just about everyone in here. All right? So like this, if you got to tell them, hey, if you really want to be free of worrying and being stressed ever about money and learn the beauty about the generosity of God and how much He gives to us and how much we're worth to God, man, you got to come hear this. Because this is a series about us getting free from the power of money possessing us, right? Instead of us possessing money, right? And so, like, it's a great invite for a friend, a family member, a coworker, anybody you know. Great time. It's a great on-ramp for people to come in and check us out. So make the invite on that. So we're going to probably develop some graphics and stuff that you could use and you can email people with and use on your phone. And so be looking for that. So, but this morning, here's the thing. We've been saying this, that our behavior, what we do, is dictated by what we believe, the things we believe. And what we believe is determined by the things that we value. And so that's why we've been covering, these heart and soul core values of our church. This one, I love this one. It's one of my favorites. But all of them are my favorite. But this one kind of has something special to me. And I'm going to ask some friends to come help me out. We're going to have a panel discussion about a subject that we're going to dive into today, no pun intended, baptism, right? But I'm going to ask them to come up here in just a little bit, not just yet. But today's value is this, that we mix it up. We mix it up here at Luminous City. We mix it up. What that means is that everybody belongs here. Everybody belongs here. Like, it doesn't matter, where you're from. It doesn't matter, what color skin you've got. It doesn't matter what gender you are. It doesn't matter what gender you think or you aren't or whatever. It doesn't matter what, it doesn't matter. There are no holds barred here. Like, everyone is welcome here at this place. Because this place, we want people to call this place home. Can I get it? Are you guys awake? Okay, good. I know we didn't do the fist bump and high five and you looking fine girl thing that we do, but hopefully you're awake right now. Everybody awake? We good? All right, good. So we want everybody in this place to call this place home. Like, we want people to be like, man, this feels like home. I like this place. This feels like home. And so that's our goal here, is to help people feel like they belong. Like, this is home. And that's why we mix it up. We've got to mix it up. And you know what? Here's the cool thing. I want to add this in there. A lot of people ask me, hey, what kind of demographic is your church? What is your church like? And I'm like, we got all kinds. What they're really asking you is, hey, is that a black church? You got a white church? Is it a Filipino church? Like, how many people what's your predominant? And I'm like, we got all kinds of folks.
Come on. Yes.
We got all kinds of folks up in this house. Come on, give it up, for real. That's how the body of Christ is supposed to look. That's how the church is supposed to look. I don't want to walk in a church and then like just be all, nothing against white people. I'm kind of white, but I'm Hispanic.
Kind of white.
You know, and like I don't want to just all one same color. Come on, I like the Neapolitan ice cream. You know what I'm saying? Not really though. There's only one. There's only one flavor I eat out of that tub, man. You know what that flavor? I'm not gonna go there. Okay, but typically I'm digressing big time right now. My ADD is kicking in so hard. Like right now, I can say 3 things that have nothing to do with this, but I'm gonna stick with it. Where was I? Ice cream? No. Multiple colors. Right? That's where we were at. This house is a place for everyone. For real. And hopefully you've gotten that. And so my friends say, so what? And I'm like, man, we got all kinds of people. We look like our city. We look like our city. And we're supposed to look like our city. I don't want to look like a pocket of our city. I want us to look like our city. And so for us to do that, that means everybody belongs here. Everybody belongs. We mix it up. We mix it up. And I love that about the body of Christ. I love that about the church. And so I want to say this. You and I know you've been in places, you've been invited to places, been in places where you have probably felt left out. You've probably been to a gathering, a party, a get-together, someplace, a restaurant, a public, someplace where you've walked in and you have felt like, man, I don't what? Belong. I don't belong. We've all been there. If I asked you to come up here and share a moment where you felt like you did not belong, you probably have one. You could think of one pretty quickly. But here's what I want to say. Here's the opposite side of that. The church, like Luminous City, and like just the church in general, but I'm just going to speak about our house. Our house, I call this our house. Our house is a place that's open for all. So this is like the antithesis. Did I say that right? Maybe. This is like the opposite of This is the opposite of that. This is the place where you should come in and you should be like, wow, like I feel so welcome here. I feel so good. And like everybody's friendly and welcoming and like shaking hands, stuffing donuts in my face. Like it's just good. I feel good here. Like that is what the church should be and needs to be. And I believe that's what we are here. And so like that is the whole opposite of that. Because Jesus is about opening doors to people. Jesus is about kicking doors wide open, wide doors, so that people can come in to his house. One of those amazing things that Jesus does to open his door to the whole world is this thing, baptism. It's this thing, baptism. Like what event do you get invited to where it's like, hey man, come on to this thing. It's for everybody. It's all me. I'm going to do the work. I'm going to take care of the heavy lifting. I'm going to provide the goodies. I'm going to take care of everything. That's what Jesus is saying, because he took care of everything. Dante mentioned that right before we got into communion, right? That Jesus took our sins on the cross. He took our weight of everything. He took it to the cross. And we get to join Jesus in the death, burial, resurrection, right, of his. And we get to come out a new person. And so, like, Jesus is basically saying, come to my party. Yeah. I've got it all. I've got it all taken care of. You are a VIP in my party. And you don't have to come in a suit. You can if you want. But you can come in whatever you want because it's my party and I'm inviting you and you and you and you, anybody, the whole world. 7 billion people on this planet. Jesus is saying, you're invited to my party. It's free. Took care of it. And so he says, come on into the waters. It's not just a regular old party. It's going to be a pool party. It's going to be a pool party. We're going to have some barbecue and some crazy big inflatable balls we're going to be passing around, and it's just going to be a crazy pool party. That's what Jesus is screaming out loud. He's saying, come. It's open to everybody. Can you imagine a worldwide pool party? That'd be crazy. It's a cool idea. Maybe we'll do it one day. But that's Jesus. And that's what he's saying. And so, like, I've asked some folks to join me on this discussion on baptism. And so, Mary and Gina, who else did I ask? If I asked you, come on up. I know it's 4 people. Jessica, come on. There we go. There's the 4 people. And Dante, come on up. I'm going to get you a microphone because you guys are going to need a microphone. All right, no particular order. Come on. All right, good deal. This is a great place. Hey, who's looking forward to hearing from these folks? Give them a hand. Man, we got some excited people out here. That's good. All right, so this is a great place to talk about baptism, which is a beautiful thing. But here's what I want to ask you guys. There's 3 questions that I want to ask you. Number 1, I want us to think through this. First of all, everybody's been baptized, right? That's good. Okay, all right, good. I should have checked that first. No, man, I haven't been baptized. I was going to think I'm going to be baptized today. but okay, everybody's been baptized. So here, check this out. So what was going through your mind? What was going through your mind? What was going through your heart when you were baptized? If you can remember back to that day, what were you thinking? What were you thinking? Maybe think about where you were. Tell us where you were, and maybe what you were thinking. In no particular order, just whoever's ready, grab the mic.
Hey. So when I got baptized, I was 18 years old. Yeah. So me and my husband got baptized on the same day.
We did.
I was 18, he was 19. And what I remember vividly was the excitement, the nervousness, but I was ready. Just because I met Jesus, he came into my life, and he really shook my life in a way that's never been shooken. And I was a very angry person, and had some issues. And he came and he loved me, and I could feel that love for me. So I was so ready to make that commitment to him. And so, I just felt that I was ready to make the next step and commit my life to him, because I just felt so loved by him, and I wanted to be with him. You know, and I just felt that was just the next thing for me to do in my walk.
That's good.
Hey, what up?
What's up? For sure.
Come on now. The first time I got baptized was I was a youngster, and I was actually like in a church, and there was like a long line, and all I remember was, what the heck is going on? Like, why am I in these white garments, and why are they putting people in this pool? And I didn't know what was happening, but I got baptized, and it wasn't until years later that I understood what baptism was. And then after I got saved, I was like, okay, this is the next step for me. I guess mentally and emotionally, because I had a better understanding of it. I went in confident, and one thing that it did for me was it really kind of, for me at least, solidified my faith. Or I know I got saved and I prayed the prayer, but there was still kind of that uncertainty of like, am I really saved? Or like, what's really going on? But that for me, as a pastor once said, it's an outward expression of an inward change. So when I got baptized, it really just kind of like gave me that confidence of like, yeah, I am a child of God. Like, yeah,
that's good.
Like,
that's good. Come on, yeah, that's good, man. That's good stuff. I love that.
So me and my husband Curtis got baptized at the same time as well.
Woo-hoo! Come on.
We won't say how old we were, but that's a while ago. But we both grew up going to church. I grew up Catholic, and I think it was kind of like a growth track kind of situation. We were at, it was called the 101 class, and at first I'm like, there's no way, like, no, I was already baptized when I was a baby, and you can't tell me what to do. But as the class went on, like, it was just like this light bulb moment, and I think it was like we both had said, like, we had been looking for this our entire lives. And the fact that somebody finally took time to share with us this personal relationship with Jesus, and that you can have this gift of eternal life and the gift of the Holy Spirit,
Come
Like,
on,
why
that's
had
good.
nobody told us? We've been going to church our whole lives and nobody had shared it with us.
Wow.
And we're like, this is what we had been looking for. And it was like changed our lives.
Wow, that's good. Wow, come on, yeah.
So when I was, oh sorry, Megan, are we introducing ourselves?
You can if you want.
So I was pretty young when I got baptized. I was pretty new in my faith. I had just gotten out of foster care, and that's kind of where I found my faith in God through my foster parents. And my dad had just gotten me back, which that alone was a miracle. So I had no doubt in God, but I haven't been baptized yet. So
Wow.
on my birthday at 12 years old, my dad took me to the beach at Coronado, and we saw our church having a baptism. I don't know, we weren't invited, but whatever. We just saw them there, and then we got excited, and we were just like, what better day than on your birthday to be reborn? And
That's so good.
I took the step, and they baptized me, and it just felt like all the things that I had stuck on me still left on me, where I felt unloved, unwanted. My mom wasn't really in the picture at the time, so it was kind of like just being washed and just reminded of how much he
That's
loves
good.
me and how he just purified me and just made me new. So it was just really good.
That's
Yeah.
good. Wow, 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 wow. I want to ask you. So I want to ask you another question. Then I'm gonna dive into just a story in John 4. And you guys, I'd love for you to stick around there too and kind of have some dialogue with me on that. I want to be watchful of my time though as well. But I want to ask you one more question. I know I had 3, but because of time, I want to stick to 2. But was life different? Was life different for you after your baptism? Like, what was different? What came into after your baptism? How did things change? Did things change? What did you sense? Like, what was it like? If you could kind of talk a little bit about that.
I think for me, it was I feel like more people noticed a change in me than I did. I know that there was something different. I know I had more of a confidence in my faith, but because I was young, it's kind of like, all right, well, I'm a Christian, and this is what it is. But in that, I just felt more comfortable with making decisions that were different from like what my family was doing, what my friends were doing, and I was okay with that. When they would go out or do this or whatever it was, I was just like, nah, I think I'm gonna just chill at the crib. And there was this inward change that happened inside of me. But that confidence just made me like, okay, like I don't need to do what they're doing. I don't need to do what everybody else is doing. But then also other people notice that change, have somebody walk up to you, just like, hey, there's something different about you. I don't know what it is, but it's something. So for me, that's what it was.
Wow, that's good. Thank you for sharing that. That's good.
Say the question again.
So, what was different after baptism? How has life been different?
It's been so much different, so much better. Not to say that I don't have my downs, but it took me from being feeling this certain kind of way, like my sister was saying, of not feeling like you were worthy or loved. God He's changed my life for the better. And I became more aware of His presence in my life, more aware of how He truly does take care of me and how He loves me. And I don't know, life is so much better with Him after that. And I don't know, my spirit changed, like in the sense of like not being such an angry person and really working in my life. God has just really worked, and He continues to work. Even though I got baptized 20-something years ago, He continues to work in my life daily, making me more aware of His presence and more aware of the power of the Holy Spirit, and really just what He wants to do in my life. And so, yeah, it's a daily thing. I love it.
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, I think it changes everything because you have Jesus now and you have Him forever. And I think for so long I felt, again, like referencing a light bulb, but I was a 20-watt light bulb, and then after baptism, I was like a 100-watt light bulb.
Woo, come on, give it up for that. That's good.
And you can see so clearly, you know, and it is better with Jesus, but life still goes on and things still happen and hard times still come, and but you have Jesus, and Jesus changes everything, and he makes you better, and you just go out and you want to help people because you want, like, for us, we have Jesus now, and man, you have to get to know Jesus, and you can see why Jesus came and why he just loved people so much, and that we want to be with you, Jesus. We want to get more people into your kingdom. It's like this. It's the fire that you hear about, and it finally came, and that's what changed, I think, for me and for Curtis.
Wow, thank you. That's good. That's good.
So for me, kind of what she said, the fire that just burns within you, I think my calling kind of was just running inside me. I just wanted to serve, and at 12 I was just volunteering with the church, wanting to serve the homeless. I had such a strong call, like just wanting to help people constantly. So that's just something that really was ignited once I was baptized. Just felt very strongly about, and just felt like I had to do. So I wanted to.
Yeah, that's good. You know, thank you guys. You know, in John chapter 4, I want you to just kind of check this out a little bit. In John chapter 4, there's a story. There's a story of a lady that Jesus meets, funny enough, interesting enough, at a well. There's a lot of conversation about water in this story. It's John chapter 4, verses like 1 through 26. I'm not going to read all the verses. Some of you guys have heard it, have read it. It's called like Jesus and the Woman at the Well. Jesus and the Woman at the Well. And so let me kind of give you a backdrop of this story, because talking about lives being changed, I don't know if you kind of caught the thread through all these stories, and probably many others, is that when you encounter Jesus, he changes everything. Like Mary said, he changes everything. He changes circumstances. He changes your heart, changes your mindset, changes everything. The trajectory of your life, he changes it. And so like in John chapter 4, I want to kind of just talk geography a little bit with you, Middle Eastern geography. Jesus was in the southern part of where he was kind of raised, his hood, right? His hood. In the southern part of where he was raised in Judea, okay? This is like down here. If you're looking at a map, if you're looking at a computer screen, it's down here, all right? Jordan River runs up and down. He's down here. And he's like, hey guys, we need to go up north. We need to go to LA. Okay, we need to go to LA. We got to go up north, and we got to do some stuff over there. And so he has to go from here to here, south to north, to Galilee. But before he goes up to Galilee, he's got to go through Irvine, right? He's got Anaheim. He's got to go through Long Beach. Come on, Snoop Dogg, right? So he's got to swim by and hang out with Snoop for a little bit. Come on, you guys, give me some love. and so he's making it, and there's this place in the middle called Samaria. Let me tell you about Samaria. So here's what happened. 700 years before Jesus was on the scene, the Babylonian Empire, huge empire, conquered Jerusalem, conquered the Israelites, God's kids. We're all God's kids. Israel was special because the only reason why, and I don't want to minimize it, only reason why they're so special is because the Messiah would come through them. But he loves us all the same, but he has something special with Israel because the Messiah would come through them. He had to pick somebody that he had to come through, right? And so Babylon captures the Israelites, takes them away, takes all the nobility, all the nobles, all the fine, proper people. They take them into captivity. They leave some people behind who are not the nobility. All right? You make up your mind and give those people a name if you need to. They're not the nobles. Okay? The nobles leave with Babylon. That's where you hear about Daniel. Daniel in the lion's den. He's noble. His story takes place somewhere else. All the rest of the folks, that'd be us, chilling back home. Babylon says, we're going to take some of our people, some of Babylonians, and send them and hang out and intermarry and get busy. You know what I mean? Come on, somebody, right? We're adults here, and they start getting busy, and they intermingle, intermarry, and they have Samaritans. They have Samaritans. Israel is delivered by God again from Babylon back, and they come back home. All the Israelites are back home, but they're like, we got some messed up people in Samaria. We got some half-bred people. We got some folks that are worshiping like all kinds of crazy stuff because Babylonians worshiped all kinds of gods, but then there were some Israelites, so God was in the picture too. And so it's just like some crazy mayhem going on. Everybody following me? You tracking? You good? Am I doing a good job with geography and culture and history?
Yeah.
I'm a pro. All right, good. And so Israel's like, I don't know about those people. You know, you right? You ever grow up in a place where I don't know about those people at the other side of the train tracks? I don't know about those folks over there. I don't know about... Okay, that's how it was. They were like, we don't know about those people in Samaria. We don't like them. Actually, they just didn't like them. You talk about racial tension, cultural tension. You know, here's the deal. Here's what would happen. Here's what would happen. People, if they were going up to Galilee, you know what the Israelites would do? They would go around Samaria. They wouldn't even go through Samaria. They would go around Samaria, add an extra day or two on foot, on donkey. They weren't riding no Uber, okay? They were on foot, add an extra day. Is that smart? No. Just so that they wouldn't have to go through Samaria. But I love this about Jesus. Jesus is in Samaria. That's where the story takes place. He tells his boys, we are going to Samaria. And they were like, say what? We're going where? We're going to Samaria. And so this is where the story takes place. I want to read it real quick because I'm running out of time. Somebody back there in production is going to start waving at me, playing sounds, doing stuff. I'm going to be quick. It says, Jesus knew the Pharisees had heard that he was baptizing and making more disciples than John, though he himself wasn't baptizing. It was his disciples that were baptizing. And then it says, he had to go through Samaria on the way up to Galilee. Eventually, he came to the Samaritan village of Sychar near the field that Jacob gave his son Joseph. Jacob's well was there, and Jesus, tired from the long walk, sat wearily beside the well about noontime. Soon a Samaritan woman, I want you to put this all into context. Samaritan woman. Now, I don't know if you know too much about culture in those days, but men did not address women. We've come a long way, folks. But we got a long way to go. The Samaritan woman, she's coming to get some water. It says, a Samaritan woman came to draw water. Jesus said to her, please give me a drink. He was alone at the time because his disciples had gone into the village to buy some food. The woman was surprised for Jesus, the woman was surprised for Jews refused to have anything to do with Samaritans. And she said to Jesus, you're a Jew and I'm a Samaritan woman. Why are you asking me for a drink? The title of today's message, which is going to end very shortly, is entitled, Are You Talking to Me? Like, really? And that's this woman. And then the story keeps going. They get into a conversation about things. I'm gonna sum this thing up. So here's the thing. So Jesus, they have this conversation about water. Jesus asked for a drink. The woman's like, you have nothing to get water from. You have no rope. You have no bucket. You have no Avion bottle. You have no pump. You have nothing. How am I going to get you water? Jesus is like, if you knew who you were talking to, you would ask me for water, and I would give you living water. Water that would never end, that actually would bubble inside you life eternally. She's like, oh my goodness, you're amazing. You're awesome. He's like, cool. Now go get your husband. She's like, I don't have a husband. He says, you're right. You've had 5 husbands. And the one you're living with right now, you're not even married to him. She's like, snap. Dang it. But they keep having this conversation. And so here's what I want to say to you guys real quick. I gotta look at my notes because stuff's happening in my brain right now. Jesus doesn't dodge people. He engages people. There's a lot of things Jesus could have done to dodge this lady. But his mindset, his heart and soul is that we mix it up in my kingdom. Everybody's welcome in my kingdom. And so instead of dodging, he engages with love, with truth, with grace, with kindness. We belong here. I don't want you ever to think anything but that. You belong here. This is home. I love it because at the worst of Jesus's humanity, think about it. I want you to think, it says he was tired, weary, thirsty. You're God. How in the world? What? At the lowest of his humanity, at the most vulnerable place of Jesus' humanity, tired, thirsty, by himself. His boys are out buying food up in Samaria. Can you imagine the 12 in Samaria buying food? Probably walking around like, where are we going to, I don't want to talk to buy food. This food is, they couldn't even eat the food there. It was unclean. Think about that. But at the lowest of Jesus's humanity, he shows the best of humanity. Think about it. When are we the most irritable? When we're tired, when we're hungry, when we're thirsty, when we're alone. But at the lowest, man, come on, at the lowest of the humanity of Jesus, Jesus shows us the best of humanity. By saying, you know what? I'm going to engage. I'm not going to dodge this lady. I'm going to engage her. This lady was there. If you keep reading the story, she was there at noontime. You know who gets water at noontime? Either you're dumb. No lady went out there at noontime at the heat of the day to get water. They didn't do that. They did that in the early morning hours or early evening hours when it was what? The coolest. Nobody went at noon to get water but her. Why? Because everybody spoke bad about her. Oh, that's the town hoe. Can I say hoe in church? I just did. She's just a town hoe. She sleeps around. Nobody likes her. I don't want to be around her. Ugh. Oh, she took my husband. She took my boyfriend. I don't like her. I don't like her. She's out there at noon, carrying jars, getting water. She's the only one in the whole town. And she hangs with Jesus. Let me tell you, we will face cultural, gender, moral, religious, you name it, all kinds of walls. We are called to break down walls. We have been called to break down and tear down walls and separate us, and it has to begin with us. It has to begin with us. I'm going to wrap up. It's amazing how a simple conversation will lead to transformation. Just a simple, hey, I want to talk with you. Hey, are you thirsty? Are you hungry? What can I do? Hey, my name's Carlos. What's your name? What are you doing? What do you do? Tell me your story. Like simple conversation. Simple conversation. I love it. I love it in 1 Corinthians 9. You read this at home, verses 19 to 22. Paul says, there's 3 words that I want to, he says, everyone, everything, every time. Paul says, I am doing all I can to reach everyone. I'm trying to find common ground through everything I can possibly find common ground so that I can save one person every time. Everyone, everything, every time. That's 1 Corinthians 9. And that's Paul's mindset, and I believe that's Jesus' mindset. Here's what I want to say about this story, and I didn't even get to unpack it as much. We want to go celebrate some baptisms right now. Hard conversations require hard love. Do you think it was easy for that woman to stand there and hear Jesus say, yeah, you don't have a husband. As a matter of fact, the guy you're with right now, you're not even married to him, and you've had 5 husbands. It was probably hard. It may have been hard for Jesus. Maybe it probably wasn't. But how hard would it be for you to have that conversation with someone? Probably hard. But if you love them hard, if you love them strong enough, we will have those kinds of conversations. Full of love and full of grace. Why? Why would we want to have hard conversations with people? so that they can come and see that water that Jesus talks about.